What's up everyone, this is John with Skate Better, and today we are doing the Almost deck review. I always like to start off my videos with why I chose Almost. I know that they are the same distribution company as Enjoy, and I'd skated an Enjoy deck a couple decks ago and I really liked it. I saw this deck in the shop and it said on the inside, you can't see it now because there's grip tape over it, but it did say that it had mellow concave and steep kick and tail, which is exactly what I feel like I like now in my decks. So I was like, you know what? I like the Enjoy a lot. I'm gonna try Almost and see if there's any difference. The measurements of this deck are 8.375 width by 31.7 length, and then it has a wheelbase of 14.25. The Enjoy deck that I had skated was an 8.5 width. It also had a 14.25 wheelbase, but it was a little bit longer in length, 32.1. I didn't really notice that much of a difference. It felt slightly more compact, and I liked it. For the shape of this deck, mainly the concave in the pitch, it had a pretty mellow concave, which is what I was expecting, that's literally what it said, and a pretty reasonably steep kick and nose, so tail and nose. I would say that it wasn't the steepest, definitely not like the Hockey or the Zero or some other decks that have been really aggressive, but definitely more than average or mellow. And I'd say pretty mellow concave. One of the most mellow, I'd say it's between the Plan B and then this deck, arguably, for most mellow concave I've skated. Maybe the Weekend deck, I would say, was a tiniest bit flatter as well. To compare concave, I have this Death Wish deck, which had a reasonable amount of concave to it. And this being a more mellow, you can definitely see the difference in the dips here, and the Death Wish being a much deeper dip, and then this obviously being pretty straight going all the way across. And then here, comparing it to the Enjoy deck that I was just talking about, very similar. Even the pitch was almost identical. So I wonder if these are modeled after sort of the same mold or whatever when they make it, and then this one's just 838, the other one's 8.5. It's really hard to tell the difference. But yeah, you can see Enjoy and Almost very similar, especially I feel like if you find ones that have the mellow concave steep kick, it's gonna be probably the same. I'm gonna talk about the nose and tail shape next because y'all love the comparisons when I do those. This is compared to the Enjoy deck. Hopefully you can see the nose is here. I would say they're almost identical in popsicleness. I would say the Enjoy is a little bit of a fuller shape. So it's the tiniest bit fuller. I'll show the other side so you can see that as well. So yeah, Enjoy just looks a little bit fuller. Could be because it's an 8.5, but I do think it's a little bit blunter here. This one has more of a, starts to taper off a little bit more. And then so you can see the tail shapes as well. It's the tail in the Enjoy is a little bit more, bluntish at the top. And this has a little bit more of a gradual angle starting here, so a little bit more fuller tail than the Almost. And then the second deck we're comparing is this Death Wish deck. The Death Wish has more of like an average, sort of, we'll call it like a 90s, 2000s popsicle, kind of like your normal popsicle shape, and the new decks now I'm finding have a little bit more fullness. And the tails as well, they're really identical actually. So I would say the Almost is a pretty average tail. If you're used to skating average tail, it's not gonna be that much thicker or wider than anything else. And here's the graphic side too, so you can see that as well. So yeah, very similar in the tail. Obviously, this is a little bit of more of a nuggety tail. It looks like this is a little bit longer, but in general, you can see the fullness. When you're talking about graphics on this deck, they were just average. There wasn't any sort of extra paint or lacquer going on. I'd say it was the exact same thing that Enjoy uses on their decks. It's gonna get scratched up pretty quick. I did a couple board slides. I can immediately see it was scraping away. And I would say it was one of the thinner paints, so just know it's gonna be an average paint. I would not expect the graphics to last or have any crazy bells and whistles. Let's talk about the durability and the pop of this deck. I think that's what a lot of people like to know. I would say this was a pretty darn durable deck. It was about as endurable as the Enjoy that I was skating, not particularly any more or less. It was not like a beast like the Death Wish that just lasted forever. A lot of decks I find I skate them and they have a really crispy pop at first and then it kind of like tapers off. This deck did not have a super crispy feeling pop right away, but it did stay feeling consistent throughout pretty much the entire time I skated it. Maybe like the last week I noticed a little bit of fall off, but I don't have a lot of razor tail going on right now. I could still continue to skate this deck. So you see there are definitely a few layers kind of kind of chipping away or peeling away here, but it still has a good amount of thickness to it. I could definitely keep popping this tail if I wanted to. Not the craziest, crispiest pop off the bat, but I do think the pop is consistent and it lasts through the whole thing. So I'd give the pop like a solid 7.5. So overall pros and cons, I don't really have much to say about this deck. It is a Resin 7 or the R7 decks that Enjoy and Almost make. It's not one of those crazy kind of impact pops or whatever, so just know that. If I was gonna skate an Almost or Enjoy again, it would be because of the shape, because it has mellow concave and a steep pitch, and that's pretty much what I like, and they actually put that on their decks, which I think is great. I would skate this deck again because it's sort of a nuggetier shape. I wish the nose and the tail were a little bit more full, specifically the tail. I think that would have helped me. And I think quality is there, you know, Almost and Enjoy. I enjoyed the quality. I think it's also a very lightweight deck is what I want to say. That's the last thing I'll say. It's fairly light. It feels as light as the Passport I'm skating right now. So just know that. Great decks. Will definitely last you. Nice and light, nuggety compact for this one. And I'm gonna leave my final thoughts there. If you've ever tried an Enjoy or an Almost, let me know your thoughts in the comments. We'd love to hear that. If you did like this video, please feel free to like, subscribe, and comment. I appreciate you all. See you next time.